Coming up on Mountain News this morning, some Kentucky schools ramp up their security measures after the deadly shooting at a Texas elementary school. And a behavioral health specialist gives some advice to help discuss tragic events like the school shooting with young children.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning, 6 o'clock. It's Thursday. I'm Dakota Makris. Thanks for waking up with us. And if you're heading out the door this morning, you might need to take an umbrella or a rain jacket because, as Brandon's been talking about all morning, it's raining right now and it's going to continue raining. So, yeah, Brandon, I don't know why. Okay, I was about to say, I don't know why they're not taking the split screen. I can only talk for so long.
Here I am.
Goodness gracious. I was like, all right, let's take it.
Yeah, nope, I'm here. I've been waiting for the box to show up. But yes, you're correct this morning. Instead of Here Comes the Sun, that popular song lyric, it's Here Comes the Rain. Yeah. So we're going to continue to track that throughout the morning. It'll give us a little bit of a break a little bit later on, and then comes back full force this afternoon. Let's take a look at what we're seeing right now on live Pinpoint Doppler radar. And you're seeing, again, some heavy pockets in the east, some heavy pockets in the west, and some of those heavy pockets in the west approaching the Interstate 75 corridor this morning. So be ready for that. London, Corbin, Mount Vernon, Williamsburg, all those areas. It's approaching you now. It's going past Somerset, going past Stearns and Whitley City, and then past Monticello this morning back into central Kentucky. Pike was probably seeing some visibility issues out there. Somerset down to 2 miles, 4 miles in Harlan this morning, and you see a little bit of fog trying to form just north of Moorhead. So we're keeping a close eye on that, down to 5 miles there in Logan as well. High knob camera from UVA Wise, overcast skies over that way, but I don't think the rain has quite made it there. It was there earlier, but it may be not there just right yet. That is the coolest spot in the region, though, at 59. Clint was at 60. They're dropping pretty quickly, too, so I'd say they'll be in the upper 50s here before too long. On the other end of the scale, we've got Prestonsburg, Manchester, and London at 69, along with Wayne, West Virginia, and Moorhead is at 70. This morning. Take a look at our almanac for today. Basically, we're 1 degree above our average high, or at least for the forecast high at 79 if we make it. 89 the record high set back on this day in 1991. Dakota?
All right, Brendan, thank you. Well, many questions remain about how or why the school shooting in Texas unfolded. Investigators say the shooter had no known criminal or mental health history. People are left mourning their loved ones and friends, the 19 children and 2 teachers who lost their lives. CBS's Danya Backus is in Uvalde with more.
Officials in Uvalde, Texas are still searching for a motive in Tuesday's school shooting, but we are learning more about the gunman's final moments.
There was no known mental health history.
Governor Greg Abbott said the 18-year-old sent private online messages just before his rampage at Robb Elementary.
The first post was, "I'm going to shoot my grandmother." The second post was, "I shot my grandmother." The third post, "I'm going to shoot an elementary school."
The grandmother is recovering in the hospital. People who knew the gunman say he was antisocial and dropped out of school recently.
Really wouldn't think it'd be him either, especially, but at the same time I would.
Crosses outside of Robb Elementary School have the names of the 19 children and 2 teachers who lost their lives. While the investigation continues, residents of this small town are searching for a way forward.
She tried to grab her phone and call the cops.
Angel Garza takes comfort in the fact that his stepdaughter, A-Marie, tried to call 911 as the gunman opened fire in her class. But he isn't hopeful that things will change.
I just want my baby home. I don't care. I don't care about anything else. I don't care about...
In Washington, Democrats are pressing for new gun control measures.
We're cowards if we don't act. Cowards.
Though Republicans appear poised to block any legislation.
Any firearm is potentially dangerous in the hands of a deranged lunatic.
President Biden is expected to travel to Uvalde in the coming days. Danya Backus, CBS News, Uvalde, Texas.
Well, the 18-year-old shooter illegally purchased 2 assault rifles and almost 400 rounds of ammunition earlier this month, shortly after his birthday. Well, there was extra security at some Kentucky schools yesterday in the wake of that mass shooting. Both Franklin and Anderson County schools had increased security. The Anderson County Sheriff says the schools have an armed SRO in every building, but yesterday they made sure there were extra deputies patrolling the schools. The sheriff says it broke his heart thinking about his grandchildren and how the town in Texas and Lawrenceburg were similar in size.
As a sheriff, it's always your greatest fear. It lays heavy on your heart with your kids in the county. that's the highest calling, being able to take care of your kids.
Well, he says they train every summer for active shooting situations and that the key is keeping the person from ever entering the school. Following the massacre in Texas, we talked with a behavioral health specialist who urges parents and kids not to get fixated on the incident because then you could see a decline in your mental health.
Step back and do things that distract you, do things that make you feel comfortable, get your mind on other things, put yourself into a hobby, and try to just re-ground yourself in that you're going to be okay.
Behavioral health experts say if your child wants to talk about the shooting, just make sure you are giving them factual information and let them guide the conversation. Well, we have a poll on our website asking if you support stronger gun laws. So far, around 45% of you voting yes and around 55% of you, well, saying no. You can still give us your opinion on WYMT.com. Prestonsburg police recovered a body from the Levisa fork of the Big Sandy River yesterday afternoon after following up on an investigation they had been assisting with in the area. Officers say they were in the Ball Alley Curve area of Lancer after watching a video related to an ongoing investigation. Officers were sweeping the river when they recovered a man's body. Well, the coroner was called to the scene and KSP is leading the investigation. The identity of the man is not confirmed as officials wait further testing. A former Clay County Sheriff's deputy pleaded guilty on Tuesday to unlawful use of electronics. 30-year-old Brandon Edwards pleaded guilty to one count of unlawful use of electronics to induce a minor to engage in sexual or other prohibited activities. Well, the guilty plea stems from an investigation that began in January of 2020. Edwards was also indicted in July of the same year. Edwards is scheduled to be sentenced on August 1st. Former state representative and candidate for governor Robert Goforth pleaded guilty in federal court to charges related to health care fraud. Court records show he admitted that his Clay County pharmacy billed for prescriptions that weren't picked up. In his plea agreement, Goforth said there was about $2.7 million in excess billing. He said about half of that happened after he learned about the billing issue. Goforth could face up to 10 years in prison for the healthcare fraud charge and one money laundering charge. He could also be ordered to pay the nearly $3 million in restitution. Sentencing has been scheduled for September 20th at 10:30 a.m. in London. A collaboration between agencies in the Big Sandy led to a major bust in Floyd County. Following a burglary at a storage unit in Pikeville, police tracked down one of the three suspects to his home in Floyd County after giving the sheriff's office there a call. Both departments, as well as troopers from KSP Post 9, converged on the home. At the home, officers found much of the stolen property, as well as drugs, paraphernalia, cash, and a loaded firearm. Officers arrested Terry Rogers for the burglary in Pike County, while he picked up several drug-related offenses in Floyd County. Both police say the teamwork was great to see during the bust.
That's been our goal from day one that we took this office, that we want to reach out to other offices, other departments, other agencies, give them what we know, share information, work together.
Along with Rogers, 3 other men were found at the home. Each was served arrest warrants totaling more than 20 charges between the 3 of them. All 4 men were taken to the Floyd County Detention Center. Well, in Whitley County, 2 men were arrested twice within a 24-hour period. 38-year-old Matthew Rajon and 33-year-old Nathaniel Nix Jr. were arrested on May 23rd. Nix and Rajon were released on bond the next day, and police say they returned to Pruitt Bend Road to retrieve contraband. When police found them, the 2 men went on a 40-mile chase that ended just south of Williamsburg. During the chase, Nix and Rajon hit a vehicle. Officers used spike strips 2 different times to stop the car. Police say they found approximately 1 pound of marijuana and more than $5,000 in cash.
6:09 here on this Thursday morning, tracking some heavy rain across parts of our region right now and possibilities for some storms a little bit later on. Let's take you on a brief radar tour here this morning. Start in the east, and you'll see we've pushed our view a little bit further north. So Paintsville, you're getting in on some pretty good rain right now. It's to the north of Prestonsburg, east of Pikeville there, heading toward Phelps and South Williamson and Belfry, north of Elkhorn City. That area this morning, about a little bit outside of Magoffin or Salyersville there in Magoffin County, and then down just to the eastern parts parts of Breathitt County. Again, just be careful out there to the west. Approaching I-75 now, you'll see Mount Vernon basically right on top of you coming out of Somerset, London. You'll be seeing this along with Corbin here very shortly, and Williamsburg as well. Temperatures very mild out there. Clintwood has hit 59 along with Wise, 70 on the other end of the spectrum there in Moorhead this morning. 79 our forecast high this afternoon. If we make it, showers and storms, especially this afternoon. Some of those could be on the strong to severe side. Severe weather alert day continues. The main threat, though, I think, is the possibility for some flooding, especially areas that continue to get soaked by some of these showers, and then we heat up just in time for Memorial Day. Dakota?
All right, Brendan, thank you. Well, coming up here on Mountain News this morning, researchers in the UK investigate a potential treatment for people who test positive for monkeypox. Stay with us. We'll be right back.